Hello, my name is Alfan Fajar and my student number is B1024201005 and I'm from Management International class batch 2020. And in this video I'm going to talk about the Human Resource Management chapter 3, which is the equal employment opportunity, and it's my favorite chapter. So first, what I know about equal employment opportunity, it is an employment practice where all employees have the right to be treated equally in all aspects of their jobs, regardless their races, their religions, their origins, and their genders, their colors of skin, etc. And I have already read the HR headline on page 73, and this passage is about sexual harassment in the United Nations. And sexual harassment is a type of harassment involving the use of explicit or implicit sexual overtones. And sexual harassment includes unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical contact. And sexual harassment is a prohibited form of sex discrimination under both state and federal law. While sexual assault occurs when you are the victim of intentional physical contact that is sexual in nature without your consent. So that is the difference between sexual harassment and sexual assault. And the sexual harassment in the United States, there is a U.S. labor law that has been considered a form of discrimination on the basis of sex in the United States since the mid of 1970s. And there are two forms of sexual harassment recognized by the United States law. The first one is quid pro quo sexual harassment, which means requiring an employee to tolerate sexual harassment to keep their job, receive a tangible benefit, or avoid punishment. And the second one is behavior that creates a hostile work environment, which means persistent sexual behavior that unreasonably interferes with an employee's ability to work. And I also already read the page 74, and there's a statement saying that at the core of equal employment is the concept of discrimination. And I think the statement means that the word discrimination simply means recognizing differences among items or people. And this statement shows us that the equal employment opportunity really focuses on removing discrimination at the workplace everywhere. And what I know about disparate treatment and disparate impact is both disparate impact and disparate treatment refer to discriminatory practices, while disparate impact is often referred to as unintentional discrimination, while the disparate treatment is intentional. And what I know about bona fide occupational qualification, or BFOQ, is a legally allowed restriction of hiring and employing a person based on their sex, religion, and or their national origin. And what I know about sex or gender discrimination laws and regulations is in the United States, it is stated in the Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 on the Title 7. It makes it unlawful to discriminate against someone on the basis of race, color, national origin, and sex, which including pregnancy, sexual orientation, and gender identity, or their religion. And the differences in pay between men and women is regulated in the Equal Pay Act of 1963 in the United States, and it requires employers to pay similar wage rates for similar work without regard to their gender, regardless they are male, female, or non-binary. And when I work as a manager, how do I manage sex or gender issues at workplace? First, I would like to make a longer shortlist when recruiting the employees in my organization, and then I have to remove the gender pay gap. So regardless their gender, I have to pay my employees with the same amount when they have the same position at the workplace. And I have to use skills-based assessment. So skills-based assessment is not a gender-based assessment. And I have to have women mentor men, so not only men mentor women, but also the opposite. And I have to make work-life balance as a priority in my organization, because that is the most important part in keeping my employees productive. And what I know about breaking the glass on page 86. So I already read page 86, and the glass ceiling is a metaphor for the invisible barrier that prevents some people from rising to senior positions in an organization. And it's a subtle but damaging form of discrimination where you cannot take the opportunities you see in front of you despite your sustainability and your best effort. And I already watched the YouTube video about how to break the glass ceiling without breaking ourselves. And this video is about how to have a work-life balancing and the steps on how to get it. And this video also teaches me the importance to not only focus on our job, but also we have to have the time for ourselves outside of our work. And I also learned from this video that balance is everything when it comes to work and life. And the potential sexual harassers is when someone is making conditions of employment or advancement dependent on sexual favors, either explicitly or implicitly, and when someone is doing the physical acts or sexual assault, and when this person or this someone requests for sexual favors to someone without concern, and when someone doing the verbal harassment of a sexual nature, which is including jokes referring to sexual acts or sexual orientation of someone. And there are some types of sexual harassment. The first one is verbal sexual harassment, which involves saying anything of a sexual nature to someone who is an unwillingly recipient. And the second one is non-verbal sexual harassment, which is any form of unwanted sexual communication or conduct that involves something other than verbal speech but falls short of physical sexual contact. And the last one is unwanted physical contact, which is considered either sexual harassment or sexual assault, depending on the severity of the encounter. And why do I agree with affirmative action? Is because affirmative action redistributes jobs and student slots towards minorities and gender minority. So it just makes the diversity in our workplace. And there are two types of sexual harassment. The first type is quid pro quo sexual harassment, which occurs when an employee, supervisor, manager, or other authority figure offers or suggests that an employee will be given something, such as like raise or promotion in an organization, but in exchange for some sort of sexual favor. And the second type of sexual harassment is hostile work environment, which is sexual harassment that has the effect of unreasonably interfering with a victim's work performance or creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive working environment that affects the victim's psychological well-being. And what do I know about individuals with disabilities and their opportunity at work is that disability inclusion at work is about more than hiring people with disabilities, because the Americans with Disabilities Act or ADA prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities and guarantees equal opportunities for individuals with disabilities in employment, transportation, public accommodations, and state and local government services and telecommunications, so that they should get equal work opportunity everywhere. And I already watched the video about equal employment opportunity, and the speaker of the video talks about what EEO and discrimination are, and the speaker also talks about the regulations regarding the equal employment opportunity. And the lessons that I got from the video is that the employee discrimination still exists in this working environment. And that's all about the HRM chapter 2, and thank you.